Hello, welcome to this video on how to create a script in TestHttpClient. Now that we know how to run TestHttpClient scripts, we want to show you how to build those scripts. We are trying to make the scripts as close as possible to the actual protocol to make sure that what you type on those scripts translates with minimal transformation into an actual request and response. You only need a text editor. I'm using Notepad++, but it could be Notepad, and adhere to the HTTP conventions. Let's define a method, and we know it's all capitalized, such as get, and the URL. I'm going to type a little bit of complex URL just to make sure everything is working fine. Of course, you can type less complex URLs just to test, or depending on your services, they may be different. And that's it. That's the whole script. So I'm going to run it now so you can see it in action. And I'm adding debug HTTP to make sure that we have output on the console. And there it is. We know we're getting information back because of all of these lesson signs, and that's a request. Now I'll go back to the script and add a little bit more details, like, hey, I want to put a custom header and then a value and maybe another one. And I'll save it again and clear the console and execute that again. And what I'm trying to show is that you can put pretty much all the headers you want. I know I'm not using standard ones just to showcase all this flexibility. Now, as you may have a little bit more complex scenarios, after a particular request, you may want to execute a second one or a third one. Well, we need to mark the end of this request number 1 with triple hash sign, and then we can put another request. And I'm going to create a slightly different URL, shorter, to show that difference. And saving, clear, and executing again. And there's a first request, and let's see, what about the second request? And well, yeah, and there's a problem in there. So what I did wrong was creating all those empty lines after that. Let's try that again. And there it is. So just be careful, the HTTP protocol is not very flexible on certain things. So there's my second request. Of course, that doesn't exist on my server. That's fine. But I wanted to show how to make multiple requests. So if you want another one, just add triple hash. Let's put and that's test 3, and here is the previous one, test. But now I have multiple URLs in my script that I may need to point somewhere else. So one technique that we want you to use is use variables. Let's define one variable called server with @ and a value. Notice that there is no semicolons, double quotes, etc. It's just plain text. And then in the places that I want that value to appear, I'm just going to use that double curly brace notation. I'll put that here and also here. clear my console, and then execute again. And as you can see, all my requests are working fine, and I have now a single point where that server name can be changed. So now let me change one of these requests to do, instead of a get method, a post method. And I'll try to point it to somewhere a little bit more useful. API. And it usually needs a content type. In this case, application /x www, and a body. But remember that HTTP protocol needs an empty line after the headers and before the body. So I'm leaving line number 9 empty, and then I'll put username, and then @ password ampersand, and I'll use that. And let's see what we get now. Well, now that's the end of my first request. Here's my second request, and we put the username and password here. I'm getting a 200 response and a token. In the next videos, we'll see how to reuse information and how to build certain scripts on REST API situations. Thank you for your time.